What is up, everybody? Cool Mark here, back with another video. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below Cool Mark Squad, and subscribe to my channel. So let's try and hit 500 likes for this video, because I put a lot of effort in this video. So definitely give me your feedback on how it went, and if it helped you or not, and what other games/subjects you would like to see for tips and tricks in the future. So without further ado, here are some tips and tricks for sniping in Bolt Force. Tip number 1. Make sure that you can track people with your aiming sensitivity. So basically what this means is that you want to be able to use your right or left thumb, whichever one you use, to aim, to track any player at any distance. This is crucial for long-range shots when enemies are sprinting across the map trying to spawn trap your team. This also gives you a basically advantage with other guns, and because you're also able to track people with SMGs and assault rifles, because aiming down sights also requires you to be able to track them, regardless of their position or whatever gun you're using. So like I said in my previous tips and tricks video, pick a sensitivity that works for you and don't change it, because that really helps you get used to whichever sensitivity you're using. Obviously there are a few exceptions to this because I sometimes change it, but really for the main part you just don't want to change your aiming sensitivity. And for smaller devices like phones, you might pick a lower medium sensitivity, while larger devices might have a higher sensitivity just because of the screen size, or vice versa, just depending on how you work. The sensitivity might be different for devices. So all this really factors into picking the ideal aiming sensitivity and making sure you can track enemies through whatever scope you pick, because tracking enemies is very important for sniping. If you can't track enemies, then you basically won't be able to hit a shot. Tip number 2. Patience is a virtue. Time and time again, I've seen so many players try to rush out on urban and try to get the first kill down mid, only to get killed by a nade, or have that aggressive player rush out on outposts and just get killed by assault rifle raining for them around the corner. So let me stress this out. You don't have to be the first one out. Now I know a lot of you guys are probably telling me hypothetically or how hypocritical I am, because I usually like to rush out, but generally that's just for fun's sake, or I'm trying to hit clips for the stream or the video. But for actually improving, you actually have to learn how to time yourself so that you don't get caught in the open without any support. Now this happens to me a lot, and sometimes I rage because I'll be like, how did they kill me? But you know, that's just how I play. I'm not really looking to improve in the Bolt Force game. I just try to have some fun here and there. But yeah, so also you just want to make sure that you're not rushing out without any support, but that you're also not sitting in the back lines camping. You kind of want to find a middle ground so you don't look like a newbie just trying to hardscope and you know. Well, we'll get into hardscoping later in the video, but yeah, you don't want to wait for like some guy to cross into your sights like 5 minutes in the match. That's really boring. So learning the timing on certain maps can be very helpful for catching people off guard. So like urban, like I said, if you maybe just watch mid instead of peeking mid, like watch mid from a distance, you could definitely get some kills, because people like to rush up there. Or let's say you're on prison, you can make sure that you're watching the middle area, because everyone likes to congregate there. So that's really stuff for map timing. So next time you if you know someone might be sitting there, maybe just wait a bit and you can catch them off guard, because they won't expect you to come a few seconds after you do, because they'll just be waiting there. Tip number 3. Crosshair placement is key even as a sniper. So most people would question this tip, as they don't think of Bolt Force as a game that requires its players to have good crosshair placement, let alone snipers that don't even have crosshairs on their screen. However, a good crosshair placement has saved me many times before, and from my experience, it actually really does help a lot, because if you're shooting someone in the leg with a CSLR4 versus shooting them with a chest, that could be the difference between life and death for you, because so one of those shots does like 94 and one of those shots does 100 damage. So you really want to be able to pre-aim at the chest area, and I know that when people are sprinting in this game, their view model changes, so that is a little difficult, and especially if they're on different levels, that's very hard to compensate for. But if they're on flat ground, it's usually easier to be pre-aimed at the chest, because that just helps out a lot in terms of how you can play as a player. So if you have your sniper pre-aimed at the chest, just when you're playing and like spawning, make sure you aim up a little, because the head or the chest area will definitely do the most damage. It also allows you to not have to flick or adjust your crosshairs much once you've scoped in and are ready to shoot. So basically it reduces the amount of error and gives you more time to focus on actually aiming at that person while they're moving, rather than adjusting where in the body you have to shoot them. So it allows you to track them better rather than readjusting your aim. So for certain guns like the M200, this doesn't exactly matter as much, but with the M40A5 and the CSLR4, chest shots and above will do the greatest damage, which usually kills a player, and you don't want to be doing leg shots to players, because that one really destroys, and that one's going to make you really mad, because I have many times where I do like 93, 94 damage and they just have like 6 HP left, and I don't get the kill and I die. So make sure you're aiming at the chest and head area because crosshair placement is key. Tip number 4. Practice quickscoping. So this tip seems pretty reasonable, as quickscoping can give a sniper's life, basically elongate your life as a sniper. It frequently will save you because when you peek around the corner, there's a lot of people who just camp there and you don't expect them, and they're just sitting waiting for you, and you're like, if you didn't quickscope them, you'd be raging because a lot of people will just sit there and you're like, why are you there? What's the purpose of you sitting there? Were you waiting for me this entire match? No, they're just noobs. They don't know how to play oftentimes. But having good quick scopes allows you to eliminate those people, which is a good part of helping you not rage as well. So having good quick scopes also allows you to, improve or on your reflexes. So you also need to have quick reflexes. If you don't really have quick reflexes, you can test it in the reaction time game. Just so you know how quick your reactions are, but that's often just like a genetic thing, so you don't really have to worry too much about reaction time. But yeah, so overall for quick scopes, just practice aiming where you predict a player will be in a few steps. So if they're moving left, aim a little more to the left where they aren't right now, but you think they'll be. So that's basically how quick scopes work. Or if they're moving to the right, you aim to the right a little bit where they're not actually on the screen yet, but you think they'll be. So basically that's just how you should pre-aim, because you have to scope based on their movement or shoot based on their movement. So one of the best ways to do this is peek around the corner very quickly just to see where they are, and don't actually shoot, or just like a shoulder peek, jiggle peek, whatever you guys want to call it, and then going back, getting yourself ready, and then re-peeking and quick scoping them. So you saw where they were about like half a second before you're about to shoot them, and then you can go back and shoot them. It's often not an easy task to do, but overall it will help you a lot if you can do it, because this just quick scoping is very satisfying to get kills with also. But yeah, quick scoping also, you can incorporate the other tips like tip number 3, crosshair placement. If you can shoot them in the chest, that also very much helps with quick scoping, because I have many times where I quick scope and I'm not like precise with my aim, so I'll shoot at their leg and I get a hit marker, and then they kill me because they can quick scope better and they shot me in the chest rather than me shooting them in the leg. So that basically helps them with their quick scopes, and it made me worse, but I had to practice it a long time to get it better. So in my beginning, obviously I was missing a ton of shots. I still do today. It's really hard to get quick scopes on point all the time, but the more you quick scope, the more you'll get used to how people move, and the more you will be, or the better you'll be at aiming predictions based on their movement. So practice your quick scopes. You can practice it with friends or just in a normal pub match. I don't know how you practice with friends, just have them moving around, I guess. But FFA is a great way to practice quick scoping because it is a very fast-paced game mode and it requires you to be very on your tiptoes and basically quick scoping a lot of the time, because you don't have time to hard scope in FFA. So if you want to practice it, I'd recommend FFA on like a close encounter map, because really, like FFA in Office really tests your quick scoping skills if you're trying to play. It really just, you have to be super fast paced, you have to be super accurate, and you can't really just miss the shot. So that's tip number 4 for you guys. The last final tip is hardscope and pre-aim spots. So this is kind of contradictory to the last tip of quick scoping, because players often give hardscoping a bad rep, which is, I don't think people should give hardscoping a bad rep, because that's what actual snipers are supposed to do. Like if you've seen in military or just in movies in general, movies often do a pretty good job of representing this. Snipers don't move very often. They just sit in a place and they wait for people. Now in games, obviously it's really boring. You don't want to actually have people just sitting there waiting for people. You can play Battlefield or something if you want that. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of games that have that, but like in Bullet Force, you really want to be able to be a proactive sniper, but hardscoping also helps you out. So what I mean by hardscoping is, I don't mean by like sitting there and just around the corner waiting for someone to get there. I mean hardscoping by like kind of peeking around a corner, wide peeking is kind of what I mean by hardscoping. So it allows the enemy to come to you without you having to go to them. Hardscoping too much we'll basically call it a camper and a noob, but just don't hardscope too much, don't hardscope too little. You got to find just the right time. Many times with hardscoping, one has to know what corner they're clearing. What I mean by that is not every angle has to be hardscoped. Only wide angles that have many spots where people could be hiding, or just be in general, could be hardscoped. So if there's a choke point, there's really not a need to hardscope, because you can just quick scope and you know where they are, because it's a choke point. Everyone has to go through that area. So yeah, in terms of pre-aiming spots, this comes down to map knowledge, just by playing maps more and more. you'll get a sense of where people like to camp, sit, rush, and just try and basically get kills. So like I said, urban mid, that's a huge one. I always know. I always rage there too, but these are things I kind of don't really think about anymore. It kind of just happens. If you know what is going to happen in that area, you might want to either avoid it or just try and wait for it to turn out, and then, hardscoping urban mid is a very annoying thing that happens a lot, but we don't have to worry about that one. So basically just knowing map knowledge gives you huge advantage over others, because it allows you to predict their location before they even see you, and then you could actually possibly get some hacking accusations thrown at you if you want that. So that's a final tip for you guys. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video a ton with bullet force sniping. Once again, comment down below if it helped you and what other types of videos you want to see. Definitely leave a like. I'm trying to go for 500. That's a stretch, but definitely hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe for more videos like this, and thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye bye guys.